Are there any other votes? Announce the results.
Ayes 112, noes 0.
The bill is passed.
Assembly Number 9198, Rules Report 19, Mr. Levine, an act to amend the insurance law.
Read the last section. Oh, see. A motion by Mr. Levine. The Senate bill is before the House. The Senate bill is advanced. Read the last section.
This act shall take effect immediately.
Clerk will record the vote. Put Ms. Richardson on the phone. Are there any other votes? Announce the results.
Ayes 118, noes 0.
The bill is passed. Mr. Morelli.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. If people would turn their attention to page 4 of the main calendar, we'll go to Rules Report number 6, a budget bill on debate.
Clerk will read.
Senate 6402, Rules Report number 6, an act making appropriations for the legal requirements of the State Debt Service.
An explanation is requested, Mr. Farrell.
The bill that is before us today provides for debt service payments of $5.9 billion. Debt service payments in this bill are estimated to decrease by $58 million from the prior year and will remain in compliance with the debt service cap restrictions according to the Reform Act of 2000. This bill is necessary for the state to make legally required debt service payments on outstanding bonds and new state-supported and state-related bond issuances. Debt service will remain under the debt cap for the state-supported bond payments of principal, interest, and other related expenses. This debt service payments support $54.7 billion in outstanding bonds. This amount increased by $2.4 billion over the prior year. The state debt supports transportation, public protection infrastructure, also SUNY and CUNY, and other education facilities and economic development projects, as well as housing and park initiatives. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Oates.
Yes, thank you. If Chairman Farrell would yield for some questions.
Yes, I would, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I will, Mr. Oates.
The sponsor yields 1 minute. We are on debate. Would you please settle down, please? We have staff in the aisles. We don't need them there. Members, take your seats. Thank you. Proceed, Mr. Oates.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Denny, this is the first of several budget bills that hopefully we're going to be doing this week. That's your expectation?
Wishful thinking, I hope not. I hope it is only wishful.
There you go. This bill authorizes the debt that we're have already committed to or will be committing to this year, making payments on that. You said those costs would be $5.9 billion this year to make the debt service cost. It does authorize or appropriate money to make other related costs. What's the total amount that this appropriates for costs this year?
Ask the question again, I'm sorry.
There's $5.9 billion in debt service.
Yeah.
But then it also appropriates a greater amount to cover all costs related. Whatever. How much is that?
That's $10 billion.
$10 billion. Thank you. And then we've set a debt cap, which I believe is 4% of personal income tax. The total amount that we have this year, we're under that cap.
Yes.
And the question is, by how much are we under that cap?
$2.9 billion.
2.9 for this year.
Yes.
And in the out years, the governor estimates that we're going to use up some of that legal debt cap space. In the out years, do we get close to or go over that debt cap?
Yes, we do. In 2018, we'll be $1.5 billion. We will not go over the debt cap.
You get close, but you...
Yeah.
Okay.
I can give you numbers if you want.
Sure.
2018 is $1.5 billion. 2019 is $630 million. 2020 is $189 million. And then it begins to go back out again in 2021 when it goes back to $584 million.
Thank you, Chairman. On the bill.
On the bill, Mr. Oates.
Today's, this bill before us This authorizes payments for debt that we've already committed to from prior years and also what's anticipated to be borrowed in this year. We have a legal cap, as I said before, 4% of personal income tax, and that has been a legal cap since, I believe, 2000. And the chairman has told us that we're this year going to be $2.9 billion under the cap. But as I look at prior years ranging from 2005 to the current time, we've increased debt service costs significantly for the state budget. So when we go and we try to spend all our dollars or figure out where to put our resources, we're spending significantly more today on debt service than we were a decade ago. And my concern is we are at a time where we've done quite well financially in the state as far as resources coming in year over year. We've had settlement dollars where we've made decisions of how we're going to spend those. But we haven't really made progress in making that overall borrowing that we're doing or the debt service costs, the annual costs that we're paying out of taxpayer dollars to cover that borrowing. And in fact, if you look at the governor's estimates going forward, the debt service this year is going to be $5.9 billion, but by 2021, we're looking at it being at $7.5 billion. And that's, we have some volatility right now with our financial markets. We don't know what interest rates will be. They've been suppressed for a number of years, and we know that those could be increasing and going up as we go forward. And so the estimates may even be low of that additional $1.6 billion. And that's $1.6 billion in 2021 that we're going to have to spend on debt service that we aren't going to have to available to spend on schools, on roads and bridges, on mass transit, on higher education, and other critical needs of this state. And so, although I'm going to be voting yes today so that New York State can go forward and make its commitments on the money that we've borrowed and will be borrowing, there are numerous reasons and concerns that may cause many of my colleagues to look at this differently and cast a negative vote. But as it is, this is the first of numerous budget bills that we will be considering over the next few days. It is my hope that we can come to conclusion and have a budget before the state that is balanced and is on time. And I guess the next few days will determine if that becomes a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Goodell.
Thank you, Speaker. Would the sponsor yield?
Mr. Farrell, will you yield?
Yes, I will, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Goodell.
Mr. Farrell yields.
Thank you, Mr. Farrell. First, I want to express my appreciation to you and your staff, and certainly my appreciation to Mr. Oakes and his staff for all the work that goes into this budget. Appreciate that. With regard to the amount of the debt, as I understand it, you said we had $54.7 billion in debt that's being covered with these debt payments.
Say that again?
The amount of the total debt is $54.7 billion?
Yes, that's correct.
And of that $54.7 billion, how much of that was approved by the voters?
Which is one? Give me that one. $3.5 billion in obligation, general obligations.
So we have about 51 billion of debt that we're covering that was never approved by the voters.
Yes.
And I recall a couple years ago the voters approved a bond act to improve our schools. I think they approved a couple billion.
Yeah.
Has that all been borrowed?
No.
How much is outstanding that is authorized but unborrowed?
$2 billion. About $2 billion.
About 2 billion?
Yeah.
And how much is our remaining
Hold on
debt
a second.
capacity?
2 million or 2 billion. Okay, just want to make sure. Yeah. Keep my numbers straight.
What's the remaining debt capacity that the state has?
Which one? $2.9 billion remaining under the capacity.
2.9 million or billion?
Billion, I'm sorry.
Billion, okay. So we have just barely enough debt capacity left to actually borrow the amount that was authorized by the voters because we've incurred over 51 billion in non-voter approved debt. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's the numbers are correct. I don't know if the concept is.
Okay. And of that 51 billion that was not approved by the voters,
Yes.
was that debt incurred by or on behalf of the state?
Yes. It is that which we will have to pay and which we do pay.
I take it from your comments that you believe the state has a legal obligation, an enforceable legal obligation then to pay?
Yeah, I think we have two different descriptions of it. But yes, we do take the responsibility of about $54 billion.
And am I correct, we have about 33 billion that's actually backed by the income tax, the personal income tax?
The LGAC, you're talking about the LGAC?
I'm talking about PIT bonds.
Yeah, it is about 33 billion, yes.
And another 5 billion that's backed by the sales tax, right?
Yes.
So, again, I ask this question each year, so I know that you are waiting for it so that we can move on.
Say that
How
again.
is it that we borrow 51 billion
Right,
by and on behalf of the state of New York
yes,
without any voter approval
that's correct.
when the state...
Other than the thank you they give us when we build them a new school or give them a better road or make the bridge better.
And
So,
I-
I mean, they may not have voted on it, but I bet you they would be very angry if you didn't do the things that this money gives us to do.
And my guess is most of those voters don't understand that the state constitution requires their pre-approval before we borrow the money to build their school or their bridge or their hospital or what have you, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say that. I believe everybody takes a civic course when they go to school, so they know that. I'm not going to say my
Well,
constituents
each of us,
don't know it.
each of us here in the legislature actually took not only verbally but a written oath of office, right, where we pledged that we would uphold the state constitution.
Yes.
And if there's anyone, by the way, who didn't file that within 30 days, they would lose their office.
Yes.
It's constitutional. You actually lose your office. Your position is vacant, so it's pretty important. So I keep coming back to the fact that, Article 7, Section 8 says, I apologize. It's Article 7, Section 11. All my colleagues are helping me, thankfully, because they've now memorized it as well. That says, no debt shall be contracted by or in behalf of the state unless it's been authorized by law, that's what we're doing here, for some single work or purpose to be distinctly stated, and I trust we'll do that, and no such law shall take effect until it shall at a general election have been submitted to the people and received a majority of the vote. So if we're not submitting these bills to the people and seeking a majority vote, how can we constitutionally authorize debt to the tune of $51 billion.
I won't answer that question. I'll only answer the question that says that what we're doing now is legal. People who thought, as you did, went into courts and they lost the case. That's why we've been doing it for the last, I don't know how many years, at least going back to Rockefeller. Remember that Republican guy? And we've been doing it since then.
Yes,
So
we've been saying that ever since.
Actually, he didn't even build those houses out there. He got Albany to do it. But it is legal, so I wouldn't answer your question because as you phrase it, I might give you the wrong answer. But the law says, through case, that this is legal.
Okay. Now, of course, a lot of times we authorize debt for like the dormitory authority or for the thruway authority or for other agencies, and they use their own revenue to pay the debt.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But the bill we're voting on now is for debt payments that are not covered by those independent sources. Am I correct?
Yeah, these are state-related bonding, which are only state-related as opposed to authority and conduit bonding, which is, you're going to ask me the next question, how much that is?
Of course.
And the answer is $124 billion that is done by authorities, but we are not responsible. But were something to happen, we would have the ability to make sure it was saved.
Now, am I correct that this makes New York the second highest indebted state in the nation?
I don't know the answer to that. I really don't keep track of that one. But again, as I said, I prefer to look at all of the things we've built, doing the things you would not have us do, and all the things that are important to you and me and our communities are being done, and that's where these numbers come from. We could probably go through the numbers I'm looking at here, walk through your district, and show you the things that are there that might not be there if we were not allowed to do it.
Am I correct that the state comptroller has under his jurisdiction several $billion of all of our employees' investments, our contributions, employee contributions, in the retirement fund? And, of course, he invests those billions of dollars as a fiduciary, right, for the pension funds. Does the state comptroller invest any New York State pension funds in buying New York State-backed debt?
That's a question I don't think is within what we're doing, but I don't think we know the answer to that. I can't really answer that because I don't have a wire to the attorney or the controller.
Well, it's my understanding he doesn't, and it makes me nervous that one of the top financial fiduciaries in the state of New York won't invest in New York State-backed debt.
I think the answer, I hate to give you the real answer, but I'll give you one I would do. If I had a business and I had money and I wanted to put it away, I would put it away in something other than myself, because if something goes wrong with my business, I won't go down with what I have. So maybe he's putting it everywhere, so no matter what happens in this state, the people whose money, who he has, they will get their program because he's making decisions to go other places.
I can only speculate like you do, and I would agree with your assessment.
Thank you. Can I sit down?
Thank you very much for your comments, Mr. Farrell.
I was only kidding. No more? All right.
No, on the bill.
Thank you.
On the bill, Mr. Goodell.
As was pointed out by my colleague, Mr. Oakes, we're at a situation where we have record low interest rates, and they've been that way for a number of years. Even so, even with record low interest rates, we're looking at spending almost $6 billion on our debt payments. $6 billion. And we will wrestle over the next few days with a lot of different programs that are worthy and valuable, and we're arguing over a couple million here and a couple million there, and we're spending $6 billion on debt. But the most frustrating aspect of it is our state constitution is pretty clear that debt incurred by or on behalf of the state requires voter approval. And it's up to the voters to decide whether they want to mortgage the future in order to build something now. That's their call, not our call. We can present the question to them, but ultimately it's their call, not our call. And unfortunately, we have a history of bypassing the Constitution. It's called backdoor borrowing for a reason, and that's not a good reason. It's because we're going around the back of the state Constitution. I appreciate the fact that we're in this situation. We've incurred this debt already, but I think we need to stop it, and I think we need to start complying with the Constitution. We need to express confidence in our own voters to make intelligent decisions on how we borrow our money. And I suspect that the state comptroller, as mentioned by my colleague, is wisely not investing in our bonds. We should take that as a warning sign ourselves, and we should start cutting back on our borrowing, pay as we go, and stop mortgaging the future for our children and grandchildren. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Saladino.
Thank you. If the sponsor would yield for two quick questions.
Mr. Farrell, will you yield?
Yes, I'll give him two quick
Sponsor yield.
answers. Yes,
Just to reiterate that one question that you answered earlier, how much debt do we have in total, sir?
which one? Total debt?
Yes.
Well, well, which you want the long? That is 54.7, or you may want the outstanding amount, the total amount, which is very high, which includes the authorities and the bonding. Is that what you want? That one is $177 billion total.
$177 billion, more than we're passing in the state's budget. Sir, have we paid off some of that debt since last year or in the recent years?
Yes,
Or
we have. Actually, we paid with that number. We retired about $4 billion last year.
And do you happen to know the year before what it was?
No, yes, 4.1 billion, for 183 million, 4,183 million.
Is there any long-range plan to greatly reduce that debt? I understand $4 billion is a lot of money, but is there any long-range plans going on simultaneously?
No, we're going to continue to do the way we're doing it because the percentage, we put in a cap. The cap says how much we can borrow. We can continue to do that. Everybody, as I said before, wants things. They want a lot of things, and it costs money. So we put in protections in there, but we have them. And I did make one wrong answer when I talked about the amount why the controller doesn't put money into our county, our state, is because New York has got such a good rating, we don't make enough money. And the controller needs to make money so that everybody, when we decided to retire to get our money, we want to get it. So it's better to go other places where he can get more interest than he's getting now. So that's another reason why he probably doesn't come into New York State.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.